Well, hey guys, welcome back. As you may notice, we're in a little bit of a different scenery here and a lot better of a layout. I'm here with Kevin of Scale Model Trains and Colorado Joint Line, great YouTuber. I've been following him for quite a while, and he does some excellent work on both reviews and then the editing portion, which I don't pay any attention to. But we're here today to give you a change of scenery, give you a little information on Kevin's YouTube page so you can check out some other reviews from a different modeler on YouTube, and we're here to review the Scale Trains Big Blow Turbine and the Rivet counter series. Now MSRP or basically street price on this is $574.99, so we'll take a look at that and we'll get started with this review right now, and Kevin's going to be helping me out to bring another set of eyes basically on the model. So let's get started right now. We're going to unbox this thing, and you see the label here, slightly kind of peeling up here, but there's the label. DCC and sound, this is number 1, equipped with LOKSound. It also operates in DC, similar to the museum quality in terms of the manual, exact same manual as the museum quality, and same sort of setup with this high density foam. And then the models, we're not going to unbox these because I don't want to end up with another 30-minute video like we did on the museum quality, but I will unbox the A unit just so you can see in case you didn't watch the museum quality review. So we'll unbox that live, not worry about the other units, but we will report back to you if there's any problems. On the side here, there's just some extra parts in this. Looks like those water hoses that were on the museum quality unit too. I could be wrong, but that's what I think they are. And let's go ahead and unbox the A unit. And here we go. It's got those bracings just like on the museum quality. And looks like no broken parts. Alright, we're going to take a look at some detail, but we will not be going over as much detail as we did in the museum quality, so if you like hearing parts rattled off, please check that out. I will be showing you some differences in between the Rivet counter and the museum quality, and we'll be going over the differences considering this is the early version of the Big Blow Turbine compared to the museum quality one I reviewed, which is a later version. So we'll start on the front. You've got the Scale Trains coupler here. This is a die-cast coupler. We just compared it just a few moments ago to a Sargent because somebody had asked that question. Slightly larger than a Sargent coupler, but still a fairly good representation of a coupler out of the box. I think Kevin mentioned that it's probably the best scale size coupler he's seen out of the box from a manufacturer pre-installed. Coupler cut lever, you got the MU hose here, grab irons on the front, again LED lit backlit number boards and headlight. On the top you'll see the horn is positioned on the cab versus the museum quality where it's positioned on the radiator. That's an indication also of an early version turbine. Questions about these two panels here, their thickness on the left and right of the headlight. Those are actually riveted down panels that cover up lift lugs. So if they went into maintenance, they would actually remove those panels, remove those rivets, and they would be able to access the lift lugs. You've got classification lights, you have sand filler hatches, windshield wipers that are etched metal and very thin, grab irons above the windshield, fully detailed interior cab. You have the cab roof heater box here, working along the side. Don't have my turntable, I forgot that. We've got the number 1 there, nice and clear. You got a warning label that I cannot tell if it's clear and legible, but the GE label is clear and legible. Union Pacific Railroad on the side, nice truck detail with sanding lines. Didn't really talk about the sanding lines much. They can sometime impede operation. and turning of the trucks, which I mentioned in the museum quality, so just make sure they're out of the way and haven't shifted in transit. One thing you'll notice on the roof, I'll show you later, is the H dynamic brake housing, fuel tank detail, control unit side radiator intake grill on the back here has got the bracing inside, so you can see through that, and you can see through all the way to the other side. No engine components inside visible or anything like that. Looks like you just catch the very top of a drive shaft, but that's about it. Access door for internal maintenance, and we will turn this around here. You've got the back with the hoses stowed up top, the crew walkway, another Scale-Trains die-cast coupler, MU hoses and accessory hoses back here, and all the connections. You'll notice the electrical bus housings here, 3 on this side, 2 on the other, and just nice detail at a lower price with a few less features than the museum quality. Same thing on the other side. I'll just kind of give you a front to back look. Here we're starting on the B unit, and we've got the dynamic brake housing, again in the shape of an H. You've got walkways. You have the doors that do not open that we just mentioned, but still pretty good detail. You still get sanding lines on the trucks. Nice truck detail. You have the turbine, which is pretty well visible from this angle. You can see the fan blades, but one feature that's not on this model that is on the museum quality is the fan blades do not spin when you activate the turbine with F3. Nice turbine housing. You got external and internal bracing on the turbine. A couple things I learned from the museum quality review. And just a quick glance at the other side. Just a real quick look at the tender. One thing that sticks out to me is there's no tender chains installed on the Rivet counter versus the museum where they are installed, just not connected to the trucks. But same type of tender setup. So we're going to go over a few features with Kevin running his layout here. He's got a Digitrack system. So this locomotive is advertised as 12 functions on the system. I don't know if there's more, but in the manual there's 12. We went through all 12 on the museum quality review, so if you want to look at that, that's fine, but we're just going to go over a few here and there just to check. And we'll start with F8, which starts up the actual locomotive. And we're going to go F1 bell. And F2 horn. And F. Now, what Kevin did there is really a staple of ESU in my opinion, which I mentioned in the museum quality review as well. The decoder response is very quick, so you don't have to have a separate function just for a short horn. F3 is the turbine, and that comes from the B unit. And that'll kill our ears, so we'll cut that one out. And that has just kind of verifying, but that doesn't have a spinning turbine inside, but the sound is the exact same as the museum quality. We're going to look at coupler clank real quick, F9. And F4 dynamic brake, which requires you to move it slightly. design of the dynamic brakes. So we're catching a little bit of a clicking noise from inside. We don't know if that's just something that needs to be broken in, but we'll check on the run by. Just a very, very small kind of clicking, popping noise from inside. So we've got backlit number boards, and we have the dual beam LED headlight, just like the museum quality, so nothing changed there, obviously. There isn't an internal light in the dashboard like the museum quality inside, and there isn't a sequence, a startup sequence like the museum quality, where you have the cab light goes on and etc. during startup. So a little something different that Kevin does is this AccuTrack miles per hour detector. What would you call it, Kevin?
Yeah, speedometer.
Speedometer, yeah, I don't know, I'm tired. But this is 1 speed step right now, and we'll see what that registers on the miles per hour of the speedometer. So looks like it's pretty smooth. Actually, that's one thing that the museum quality had just a slight lurch at 1 speed step. This is at 1, and it's still maintaining a smooth. I don't see any sort of lurching or anything, Kevin.
No, looks good.
Okay. So registering at 0.5, I don't know what that means. Is that good, Kevin? For
yeah, no, that's very good.
Step?
0.5 scale miles an hour, speed step 1. That's very good.
Yeah, it's super slow. So there you go. I need to look into that that speedometer. That's a pretty cool feature. Testing without the turbine to see top speed. .36 miles per hour, scale miles per hour. We're testing high speed with the turbine on. When you hit F3, it gives an extra speed boost, just like on the real thing when the turbine's on. May take some wind up time here. It's 68 miles an hour. All right, we got a pull test going on here, and Kevin's gonna ramp this thing up. Go ahead and kick on the turbine too, Kevin, and see if that does any difference. .9 ounces, so significantly better than what I was getting with the museum quality, which leads me to believe I may have problems with my track. So we're going to do a coupler height check here. That appears to be dead on. And we'll go, one thing I didn't do was check the other side of the tender. That's what I didn't do in the museum quality review, but that's good. I didn't check all sides of the B unit. So just like the museum quality, this coupler on the back of the B unit just kind of has a visual appearance of being angled upwards, but it's not, it's dead on. And just a fraction bit high on that, but almost dead on. Good. And good. One test Kevin does is actually to go through a series of switches. They have insel frogs, kind of tells you if it's going to have any derail problems, and also tells you if there's any connectivity problems. What are the numbers of switches, Kevin?
Number 7 curve, number 6, and a number 8.
Okay. A little power interruption on one of the insel frogs. Kevin also goes forward to check. Looks like the same spot, just a slight power interruption. Kevin brought up a really good point about the prototype, and that's the fact that the A unit, B unit, and tender were meant to always run together. So there is no rear light on the A or B unit, it's on the tender. And just like on this model here, you're in reverse and that illuminates the rear tender light. Now the light's a nice LED with a nice golden white appearance. I really can't stand blue LEDs, so I love the fact when you get a good incandescent look, but with an LED, and that was nailed here in this model. Well, that wraps up another review. This time, variety is the spice of life at a different layout with a different perspective from another modeler. And Kevin, I want to take this time to thank you for showing us your layout and allowing us to do some tests here and chiming in on the model. Some things I noticed were that the model has just a tiny bit of a, it's like a speaker interference when you have the turbine on, or not the turbine, it was the dynamic brake. So it's a little speaker crackle is how I would explain it. At first I thought it was drive gear related, but it turns out we believe it's speaker. And then as you probably noticed in some of the run-bys, it's has some problems with insel frogs on occasion, and then a lot of the turnouts where the sound will cut out. I don't know if that's an anomaly with just this model, or if they didn't put a capacitor like they did with the museum quality turbine, but those are the only nitpicks I could find. Could you find anything else?
No, that was good. Like you said, the sound does cut out there for just a little half second. You can see it. You're seeing here in those videos just that little bit of a pop. It's very intermittent though.
Yeah.
And maybe what 10%, 15% of the time.
Yeah.
For the turnouts at most, so it was not a very consistent thing. And then that crackle that was really odd with the dynamic brakes.
Yep.
Was the only thing I saw.
And then positives. We thought we had scale trains on a high-speed mile-per-hour test with the turbine on, because we're both thinking this is a jet engine, it should be 100 miles an hour. Well, a little research showed the top speed was 65 miles an hour on the actual real thing, and this came out to 68 scale miles per hour with Kevin's tester, which he said is almost dead on. So a real good job by Scale Trains on top speed. I like the fact that one thing I didn't mention on the museum quality is when you engage the turbine with F3 while it's moving, there's a speed increase just like the real thing would, and obviously there's a high speed with and without the turbine. Now we talked about some of the differences between museum quality and rivet counter. I'll just sum some of those up. Since I don't have my chart, I can't mention them all, and I'm probably going to be too lazy to actually put them in for you. But there's no startup sequence, there's no nighttime mode to my knowledge, unless there's some sort of issue with the model. There was no opening of bay doors on the B units to see the internal components. Those are just a few things. Obviously the box is different. You don't get that nice museum quality box, and you also don't get the spinning turbine.
Right.
And so those are some details. Also the bus hoses don't exist on this model, so all that bus hose detail is not showing or available. So those are just some of the visual differences we noted during the review. But again, be sure to check out scaletrains.com. I couldn't find it on my smartphone, but there is a graph there that shows all the details of what you get versus from museum quality versus rivet counter. Overall though, I think it's a very solid model for an MSRP of right under, or sale price I should say, of right under $575. Kevin, you have any final thoughts?
No, I thought it was good. It certainly performed well, operated well, looks really good. And the amazing thing to me about this model is the fact that this is not the museum quality one.
Right.
This is actually the rivet counter one. And there is a even higher detailed, higher fidelity model than this out there. It shows you,
Right.
It kind of goes to show the length that Scale Trains has taken to get things done right.
Yeah, it seems the bar is set higher than most of what you see in higher end model trains, even with their rivet counter unit. So Kevin, again, thanks for your time. Be sure to check Kevin out because he is a great source for reviews as well. Spends, I would say, 300 times the amount of time I do on editing, and does a really good job and provides a really good product. And as you saw in this video, he adds aspects that I haven't even thought of. He speeds up the unboxing process when he covers it. He checks the frogs and insel frogs and turnouts. He does the speedometer check. So he's even more detailed than I am, and then he does that great editing. So I'll put a link below to both the Scale Trains website, if you're looking for the rivet counter or museum quality, and Kevin's YouTube page, and be sure to check him out because, again, he does a great job. Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks.
And we'll see you guys next time right here on my channel. Take care.
Or mine.